ஓகே சார். தெரியுச்சு. அதுவே போடணுமா? ஓகே சார்.
Hallo, guten Tag, guten Abend und herzlich willkommen zu unserem Live-Gespräch über YouTube und über Zoom für die Teilnehmer von dem Kurs German 3, NPTEL German 3. Können Sie mich hören? Can you just type in the messages whether I'm audible? Okay, vielen Dank. Ja, und können Sie mich verstehen? Wenn ich auf Deutsch rede, können Sie mich verstehen? Ja, okay, sehr gut. But right now I will switch to English for a while. So I hope that it has been okay. Sie können ein bisschen verstehen. Sehr gut. Aber ich möchte ein bisschen auf Englisch reden zuerst und dann vielleicht können wir uns auch ein bisschen auf Deutsch unterhalten. Also, the thing is that I first of all, I hope that you are liking the course and that it is being useful to you in terms of either revising your German knowledge or learning up to the B1 level. So I hope that it's going well. And I hope that whatever queries you have on the forum on Ask a Question are being answered. So with that, in the live session, normally what we do is that I think we have circulated a Google Sheet in which you were asked to give your queries. So we have got 10 queries from participants of the course. So what I will do is first, I will go through these 10 queries, because if people have taken the trouble to write down and ask the question, then I think we should address them first. And then after that, we will have live interaction, in the sense if anybody who's present wants to ask a question, either by typing it into the chat box, or you can also unmute yourselves, but then we have to also be a little careful about the audio disturbance, etc. So let me go through the 10 questions that we have got responses from participants till now. And I will read the question and then try and respond to it so that everybody benefits from the question and the response. So the first question is, es gibt einen Satz, eine Party machen ist hier billiger. Warum ist es nicht eine Party zu machen ist hier billiger? Eine Party machen ist hier billiger. Eine Party machen, we are using here eine Party machen, not as a, it's almost like if we were to interchange the positions of the two clauses, eine Party machen here is actually just like a noun that we are using, the entire phrase. Okay, was ist hier billiger? Ein Party machen ist hier billiger. If you were to interchange the position of the two clauses and then make an infinitive Satz mit zu, which we have learned in this course, es ist hier billiger, eine Party zu machen. Then, of course, eine Party zu machen would come later on, and then you could use that as als infinitive Satz mit zu, oder infinitive mit zu. Okay. So again, I mean, this is really in spoken German, in daily use, rapidly spoken German. This difference is not really very obvious. It is what I'm saying is more of a technical difference. But otherwise, anybody saying eine Party zu machen ist hier billiger, I mean, that is not all that wrong, I would say. Okay, I mean, although grammatically I would have to say it's better to make the infinitive Satz mit zu, or otherwise drop the zu. So I hope that clarifies. I don't know who has asked these questions. Otherwise, normally I also
Ajay here. I had asked these questions.
Ajay. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Ajay, for all these questions are from you.
Yes, the 10 questions I had asked. No? I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
then-
joined late. I
that's
just joined
fine.
just now.
No, that's okay. Then since you're taking the trouble to send the questions in advance, I'm answering them before we go to
Okay.
live questions. Ich kann ein guter Lehrer sein. Warum ist es nicht, ich kann ich kann ein guter Lehrer sein. Das Verb hier ist sein. Und sein ist ein intransitives Verb. Bedeutet sein, das Verb hat normalerweise kein Objekt, kein Akkusativ oder Dativobjekt. Dativ könnte sein, aber kein Akkusativobjekt.
Oh.
And yeah, the point is that ich bin Lehrer. Was bin ich von Beruf? Ich bin Lehrer. Now, ich bin Lehrer and ich kann Lehrer sein in terms of the status of ich and Lehrer. Both sentences are the same. And Lehrer in the first sentence, ich bin Lehrer, is not the object of ich bin. Like ich habe ein Auto is different. Auto and ich are different entities. Was habe ich? Ein Auto. Also das Auto ist ein Objekt, das ich besitze. The car is an object that I own. Okay, so I and the car are different entities. And hence the car in the second example is normally is the accusative object. But in Ich bin Lehrer, ich and Lehrer are the same entities. Okay, so the Lehrer part is only an Ergänzung or a supplement of ich. What am I? As a person, as a professional, I am a teacher. So that is why it is not accusative, and hence it is not einen. It cannot be einen. Okay. Please remember that when we say ich bin etwas, ich bin Lehrer, ich bin Student, ich bin Techniker, ich bin Arzt, ich bin Ärztin. Ich bin Ärztin. Ich viele Grüße zum Internationalen Tag der Frauen. So many greetings to International Women's Day on International Women's Day. So which is today, 8th of March. So ich bin Ärztin, if we say a sentence like this, then the word Ärztin is not an accusative object of ich bin. Okay, whereas ich kaufe einen neuen laptop, then of course laptop is the thing I'm buying and it is the accusative object. Okay, I hope that is clear.
Yeah, danke.
Okay. Ja, dann A2, Seite Nummer 4. Eine Frage: Möchten Sie erste oder zweite Klasse fahren? Warum die erste? Ich verstehe erste und zweite nicht.
Yeah, the declension I couldn't understand. I mean, I googled a lot, but I couldn't understand why is it ER best.
Möchten Sie erste Klasse fahren? Möchten Sie it is basically mit erster Klasse fahren. That is why it is either a dative or a genitive declension. That is why it is erster Klasse.
Oh,
okay. So I mean, I look at the exact thing in the book, which I don't have with me right now. But the point is, möchten Sie erste Klasse oder zweite Klasse fahren? Even with an E, I would say it is acceptable. But with an ER, if it is there in the book, if you can confirm to me that it is there in the book, then it is basically meant to be either a dative or a genitive declension. Okay, and that's okay. I mean, that is like akin to saying, do you want to travel first class, second class, or do you want to travel by first class or second class? That's the difference. And here the by is indicated by the declension, which is which can be understood as either genitive or dative. That okay?
Yeah.
Even erste oder zweite Klasse, simply if someone's asking for a ticket, then you say erste oder zweite Klasse with just an E. ending, that is also perfectly fine. Then braucht bezahlen für. Ich bezahle für das Essen, aber ich bezahle das Essen. Oder beides geht. So the question here is bezahlen für. Okay. Is bezahlen sufficient? Ich bezahle das Essen, ich bezahle den Tee, ich bezahle den Kaffee, oder ich bezahle für. To tell you the truth, when I learned German, it was a long time ago, we learned bezahlen as a transitive verb which does not need für. Okay, and we learned even zahlen actually. Even zahlen nowadays, zahlen also can be used without für. Okay, but ich bezahle das Essen ist besser als ich bezahle für das Essen. In fact, ich bezahle für das Essen would be slightly incorrect, I think. With zahlen, without the be, both are possible. Ich zahle für das Essen, ich zahle das Essen. Both nowadays are possible. But bezahle, better to drop the für. Because see, the point is also, now that we are doing German at a slightly advanced level, we can talk about this, that the prefix be, you might notice that the prefix be gets attached to several verbs that we know, like kommen, bekommen, zahlen, bezahlen, dienen, bedienen. So many arbeiten, bearbeiten. Several verbs that we know can take the prefix, the inseparable prefix untrennbar be, and definitely one thing happens is the prefix be makes the verb transitive, which means that the verb could be transitive earlier, but it could even be intransitive. So for example, kommen is an intransitive verb. Okay, kommen cannot take an object. But bekommen, to receive, becomes transitive. I receive something, it can take an object. Okay, so ich bekomme einen Brief, oder ich bekomme whatever it is that I'm getting. So since verbs with be as a prefix are usually verbs that can take objects, that means transitive verbs, you would not need a preposition in those verbs. Okay, that is the point. And for example, eine Frage beantworten. Okay, if you simply say antworten, then you would need ich antworte auf die Frage. You would need the preposition auf. Ich antworte auf die Frage. But you can also say ich beantworte die Frage. Then I won't need the preposition auf. Directly the verb beantworten can carry the object Frage. I hope this is understandable. Okay, so better to drop the für if you're using bezahlen. If you're using zahlen, beides ist okay. Zahlen für oder zahle. Ich zahle das Essen oder ich zahle für das Essen. Beides geht. But bezahlen, drop the für. If there are multiple adjectives, then do both get the declension. Eine ganz neue Erfahrung in the sentence. Ganz was not given declension. No. Ganz neue Erfahrung. Very good or nice question. Eine ganz neue Erfahrung. The word ganz is actually adverbial to neu. Okay, it is not adjectival to Erfahrung. I hope you get that. So ganz is actually qualifying neu, which is the adjective which is qualifying Erfahrung. That's why the declension is on neu and not on ganz. Eine ganz neue Erfahrung. Die Erfahrung ist neu, wie neu, ganz neu. Okay, that is why if ich habe eine ganze Tasse Tee mit einem Schluck getrunken. If I say I drank a whole cup of tea in one go, okay, in one swig, then eine ganze Tasse Tee. Here the word ganz, which is the entire cup, is actually an adjective qualifying Tasse, and which is die Tasse, and that's why I am declining it with die ganze Tasse Tee. But in our sentence, which Ajay has given here as an example, eine ganz neue Erfahrung, here the word ganz is qualifying the adjective neu. But neu has a declension, has the ending e, because Erfahrung is die Erfahrung. So neu is neuer. Okay, that was question number 5. Then 6, vielleicht verkauft sie jemand an jemanden. Maybe someone will sell them to someone. Verkauft der Verkäufer sie. I didn't understand this question, Ajay, but I would need context for this. So maybe you can type it later on, not now. Let me go through the questions first. So I'm just marking question number 6 to be addressed later, because I need to know. See, the point about pronouns, we should know. The point about pronouns is that pronouns replace nouns in a text, in a paragraph, in sentences. Pronouns replace nouns. So the thing is, when we use pronouns, the thumb rule is it is known for which nouns we are using the pronouns. Okay, so I hope you understand that. So the reference is established before we use the pronoun. If I simply say he has gone to London, then without a reference about who that he is, we have no clue who I'm talking about. The sentence simply is a grammatical construct. It doesn't have any understandable meaning as to who it is referring to. So we need that reference when we use pronouns. So if I don't have the reference here, vielleicht verkauft sie jemand an jemanden. I don't have the reference here who sie is, and jemanden is okay. That's understandable. So what or who sie is, I don't know. So we can come back to that later. And then question number 7. Und üben man sowieso viel. Again, this whole sentence I need to know. Und muss man sowieso viel üben? Is there a modal verb there? That is why, are you asking why üben is not at the end? I don't know. So
It was a separate sentence. Like there was a full stop before this, like a paragraph, and there was a full stop before this, and then it ended with, and the man must also exercise regularly. So,
but there's a must, no?
yeah, there is a must.
So what is the position of the must?
The must goes at the end, but then where is üben? Üben is also no, it just ended. Üben man sowieso will.
No, I'm sorry, but we'll have to look at where it is coming from. Maybe what you can do for these questions is you can note it down. 6 and 7. Maybe you can put it in the forum.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. Then we can go to the textbook, check what you're asking, and then reply. Assignment had a sentence. Dieses Smartphone ist mir im Moment zu teuer. Daher warte ich noch auf mit dem Kauf. Ja. Why is mit used in second part of the sentence? Ja, das heißt, ich warte jetzt noch mit dem Kauf. Das heißt, ich mache damit nicht weiter. Das heißt, I'm going to hold it back a little with the purchase of whatever it is, a smartphone. Okay, because right now too expensive. I'm going to hold back. In English, you would say I'm going to hold back on it. I'm going to hold the decision. But ich warte noch mit dem Kauf in the sense, ich kaufe das Smartphone nicht jetzt. Ich warte noch. Okay. That's the expression.
For question 7, I mean, here it is. It just, I mean, the paragraph is like 3 sentences. It goes like, ich habe Gitarre spielen gelernt, ohne Kurs und ohne Lehre braucht man viele Disziplin, full stop. And this sentence is, und üben muss man sowieso will.
Und üben muss man sowieso viel.
Yeah, so shouldn't muss go at the end? I mean, no, shouldn't muss come before üben?
No. See, mus coming in the beginning would make it a question.
No, mus and Ubin goes at the end.
Man mus sowieso viel üben. That would be man, beginning with man, mus sowieso viel üben. That is a standard construction. Okay, that should be the default construction. But here, what is emphasized in, I remember this text, yeah. What is emphasized in this context is the fact that the person is learning to play the guitar without any instructor, without going for any coaching, like that kind of a thing, classes. So the point is, he or she would like to emphasize the üben part. And that is why üben is coming in the beginning. As I said, the default construction should be und man muss sowieso viel üben. Okay. Und üben, mein Gott, üben muss man sowieso viel. I mean, you have to understand it in that way that it is being emphasized. Okay. So again, this is a one of the main things we have to also remember is that it is not, what is primary is not grammar. What is primary is speech. Okay, language is a living spoken phenomenon. Grammar of a language are things that we distill out of what we hear, what we come across, in order to give a systematic explanation for language. So language by itself is dynamic and very, very full of affect, which means feeling and emphasis, non-emphasis. It is so. While I teach grammar, I have to teach you the default correct construction. That goes without saying. But when we begin to speak language in a live situation, at that time, actually what our feelings are, what our thoughts are, what we want to emphasize, those things will impinge upon our sentence construction. Okay, so we have to understand that here a person is giving an interview and is talking about a very, very personal experience of having learned the guitar by himself or herself. And so at that point, suddenly he realizes that, oh my God, and how much did I practice? Do you even know how much practice it needs? That kind of a thing. Und üben muss man sowieso viel. That's okay?
Yeah.
Right. Assignment had a sentence, smartphone, I think we answered that. Why is mit used in the second part? That's fine. Like worüber and woran. Is there also worum? Yeah, there is worum. Yeah.
Okay.
Esgate, just to respond to, or just to take the text that you just read out as an example. In diesem Text, was Ajay gerade gelesen hat, in diesem Text geht es Gitarre lernen. Okay, that understandable? So this text talks about learning guitar. Worum, if I were to ask, if I didn't hear it right, I would ask, worum geht es in diesem Text? What about is this text, that worum? It is different, of course, from warum. Warum is why. But worum is also possible. And worum basically would imply about what. Okay.
So there would also be a darum.
There is a
darum guitar spielen.
Correct. There is the darum also, which would be responsive to worum. Okay. Sieht dem Kinder in die Augen. Why? No, Dativ for Lehrer? No, Dativ for Kinder. Sieht dem Kinder in die Augen. Der Lehrer sieht, not dem. Dem Kinder it should be, or dem Kind in die Augen. So this question again.
Whenever I use the Google Translator, it just says we looked at in the eye. The sentence where the teacher looks a student in the eyes.
No. The teacher looks the child in the eye would be dem Kind, or the children would be dem Kindern. Dativ plural, n plus n. Okay, dem Kindern.
But why dativ? Accusative, it should be.
No. So, yeah, that is do you remember when we did the reflexive? Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes. Ich wasche mir die Hände. Ich wasche meine Hände is also okay, but ich wasche mir die Hände. Ich wasche für mich die Hände. Okay, so that way, der Lehrer sieht den Kindern in die Augen. That means okay. It's Dativ not for Lehrer, it's Dativ for Kinder. Den Kindern in die Augen. It is like doing something to somebody. And that is why in that sense that somebody, that to somebody is in the dative form. Okay. It is, but
So
for
the
a longer
eyes would
explanation-
be in accusative. Then.
Sorry?
The eyes would be then in the accusative form.
Actually, eyes won't be in the accusative. Eyes would be prepositional here because in the Augen.
Oh.
But it is like doing something to someone. In that sense, it is dative.
Okay.
Okay. But for a longer explanation, you please put this question also
Yeah. Okay.
into this thing.
Okay.
We can, because it will be a little complicated to reply on this forum. Okay.
So is it because eyes are the direct object and the kinder is the indirect object?
That's what he meant. That's what Ajay meant when he asked who is speaking.
This is Neha.
Neha.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's what Ajay asked, whether Augen is accusative and that's why Kinder is dative or Kind is dative, but that's not the case because Augen is prepositional. It has in the Augen. Okay. It is not accusative in that sense. So, but this has the telltale mark of doing something to someone, and that is why in that sense, for example, but das macht mir Spaß here. Clearly, there is Spaß as an accusative object, but we have examples like this: das geht mir auf die Nerven, etc. So which we, as I said, you just put this question on the forum, and we will take a few examples and deal with that. Is that okay?
Yeah. Done.
Okay. So that, also vielen Dank, Ajay, für deine Fragen. Und ich hoffe, dass ich die Fragen etwas, dass du zufrieden bist mit meinen Antworten und dass die anderen Teilnehmer auch verstehen, worum es geht in Ajays Fragen oder bei Ajays Fragen. Hoffentlich haben die anderen verstanden, worum es geht. That means I hope the others have understood what was the concern or what were the questions about. Okay, so then if that is done, I will take the questions which are now in the chat box. Now, I would request everyone to please pause a bit till I get through with these questions in the chat box, which are already there. Otherwise, they just keep piling up and then I lose track. So just pause right now for a bit. I'll just go through. First one is well, there's different ones on Zoom and there are different ones on YouTube. Is it? Okay, YouTube, there's some separate thing, but I'll take Zoom questions. Oppo, that is Neha, I think is the same person. Ich habe Probleme mit Konjunktiv 2 mit Modalverben. Yeah, was Konjunktiv 2 Modalverben, there are specific forms of see the Konjunktiv 2 is derived usually from the past tense of a verb. So if you take a verb like können, the verb, we know that it is irregular in the present tense. It is conjugated as ich kann, du kannst, kann, and so on and so forth. Its past tense is konnte without the umlaut, konnte. And from konnte, we derive by providing an umlaut or adding an umlaut, we derive the Konki-2 form of Können. Again, müssen, musste, and müsste would be with the umlaut, would be the K2. Sollen, of course, we don't put the umlaut. Sollen, sollte, and sollte, the past tense and the K2 would be the same, but actually sollen itself, the verb itself, is almost has a meaning which is almost like K2, so it doesn't matter. Then dürfen, durfte, and dürfte. Okay, again we provide the umlaut for K2, and können, müssen, wollen. Wollen again, like sollen, we don't put the umlaut. And again, then möchte we have anyways as möchte. By the way, ich möchte etwas machen. It's already a K2 form. We learn möchte as a almost like a modal verb very early on in German 1 itself. But if you look at where möchte comes from, it comes from mögen. Mögen, its preteritum or past tense is mochte without the umlaut, and from mochte we put an umlaut and derive möchte. Okay, like when you put an umlaut, the ch changes to sh, like Buch becomes Bücher. Similarly, mochte becomes möchte. And that is, so I think, Neha, it is your question.
Yes, sir.
Could you, do you want to elaborate what exactly is the problem?
Yeah, the problem is like sometimes a K2 and modal verb, they both comes together in a sentence. Like relatives that's will come na? In that I have a little bit problem. Like I think in the second sentence we use würden most of the time.
That is okay. I mean, the point is, can I request something?
Yes.
In the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes while we deal with the other questions, can you
Yes.
please give us an example? Then it is better to illustrate things on the basis of an example. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure what I need to illustrate.
Yeah,
So,
okay, sir.
so put a question in the put a example sentence in the chat box. Then we will deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Thanks. Then I'll go to Shilpa's question next. Practicing expression part is Shilpa's question. Why are you asking me this question? This is the most difficult question for me to answer because it is an online course. And actually, as I said, we have been trying to devise methods by which we can have maybe one session a week or something for interested people to come together and just spend an hour speaking in German on some topic. We did that actually with a couple of batches earlier, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. But I will, by yourself, if you want to practice the expression part, then you can. It's not that easy, but one of the things that I always feel is useful is to read aloud. Okay, to read aloud is read aloud from take dialogues from the textbook and read them aloud. Do a role play with dialogues from the textbook. Those kind of things. I mean, if we are in a situation where practicing speaking German when we are learning in an atomized form by ourselves, sitting at home alone, something like that, then it is difficult to practice conversation. But we'll have to devise certain ways of doing that. And one of the ways is to get some amount of fluency in our speech, that is delivery of speech in German, because that is important for spoken German, and that we can do by practicing reading. Reading is a good way of practicing that to improve the fluency of our speech delivery. But we also have to be careful to be aware of what it is that we are reading. So not just to read without understanding the text, but to read fluently with a complete understanding of what we are reading. We have to come to that stage, and then that helps. Another thing that I have done earlier in my classes in live classes, in the sense physical classrooms. There's also role play. Role play we can do also by ourselves, in a sense, or just team up with one or two of your cohort members from the group, whoever wants to practice it, and then you can practice dialogues. Take a topic, such as, for example, I don't know whether we have already done that. We are in the 7th week now, but maybe Stadt oder Land, wo möchtest du gerne leben? Auf dem Land oder in der Stadt? Warum? You can just have a small conversation with a partner. So Shilpa, I hope I have given you some direction as to how you could.
Yeah, actually the thing is, suppose if I only be a person A and person B, so is it correct or not? That is the thing.
No, it is.
So if we can get a forum, as in I'll send both the conversations and I'll get the corrections, or any XYZ person. So it will be a little helpful.
I'm suggesting, in fact, right now, how many of there are 12 people already in Zoom meeting, and there are several people on YouTube also, I guess, who are listening. So, I mean, from within the forum itself, you could team up with someone who is interested also in doing the same thing. And then separately, you can have conversations on certain topics. Best would be, we have dealt with certain topics in the course. In the course videos, you will find that students are talking about a few things, what they would like to do, etc. So take the points from there and prepare your these things, what you want to say, and ask your partner also to prepare their responses. And so make it into a conversation about, as I said, you could start by the möchtest du in der Stadt leben, oder auf dem Land leben? Ist es dir lieber in der Stadt? Warum magst du das Leben in der Stadt, etc. So you can prepare questions like this and your responses to those, and then try and work it out with the partner.
But the same thing comes again, the correction part.
Okay. Es gibt ein paar WhatsApp-Gruppen, denen wir beitreten können. Das hilft mir.
Es gibt ein paar WhatsApp-Gruppen, denen ihr beitreten könnt. Das ist sehr schön. Das weiß ich nicht. Aber das kann helfen und das ist sehr schön. So, but if you make short conversations, if you prepare short conversations and put them on the forum, we'll definitely try and respond to that if there are any corrections to be made.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
But no, I mean, please don't write a play and send it to me. Okay. Short conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, aber vielen Dank für die Frage. As I said, this is something that we have been trying to resolve because of this, the way the NPTEL course is offered, and especially in German 1, it becomes very difficult because then there are some 10,000 participants, and how do you decide how to practice spoken German? So anyway, but let us see if we get the bandwidth, we will try and create a forum where people who are interested can register themselves and then meet for an hour in a week or an hour in every 2 weeks and practice for 5 minutes or 10 minutes each, speaking and knowing whether they are doing it right or not. Okay.
Because I think that will help us for the vocabulary and even for the sentence construction, everything.
No, we did that with German 1 and German 2 before we recorded German 3 for NPTEL. We had done with a couple of batches this kind of a thing, but it doesn't. It also requires. I have to say, it also requires a lot of commitment in terms of time, in terms of preparation and time from our teaching assistants also. because even if I can be there for one forum, then it's we normally need to have at least 2 or 3 forums so that enough people get a chance to speak, and then it becomes logistically a little difficult. But in a limited way, let us see if we can revive that practice for German 3 as well. So
Yeah, because when I attend your classes, because the students, how confident they are while speaking, I don't think I am that much to be one.
that is because they're prepared.
Yes.
But some of them are very good. There's no doubt about all of them are good at German. But we also, in the sense that they have gone through some material, they have seen some vocabulary, and then they are trying to articulate themselves based on that. So that is why it might be. But no, you can try, and I'm sure that so confidence will come when you get to speak in a live situation. That's the trouble. Until and unless we get to speak in a live situation, it is we just don't know how the other person will respond to our speaking in German. That's the problem. But I understand that, and let's see if we can revive that practice before this course ends.
Excuse me, sir.
1 second, Neha, I'll just come back to you.
Sure.
Just sorry, but I was checking after Shilpa's question. There is Venkatramana's question. Preposition usage in, an, auf, or zu. A study material where I actually, Ramana, I just wanted to share with you that I'm also teaching the course right now in IIT offline. I mean, I have a batch of a few students who are doing German 3 with me right now. And in fact, today I addressed this exact question came up today. And what we did was, for example, I'm sharing what we did in class just this morning. We took the verb schreiben. Okay, schreiben we took, and we said, let us see all the prepositions that we can use schreiben with. So for the instrument with which you're writing, it is ich schreibe mit einem Bleistift oder ich schreibe mit einem Kuli. Then if you are writing to a friend, then ich schreibe an einen Freund, Akkusativ, oder an eine Freundin, Akkusativ. So schreiben mit, schreiben an. If you're writing on the paper, schreiben auf Papier. If you're writing in a notebook, schreiben in das Heft, and so on and so forth. So we took a couple of verbs like this, and we decided to practice what are the different prepositions with which we can use, or which we can use with these verbs, and then what are the meanings that come out of those prepositions. So you could try something like this, because the prepositions don't always, there is no one-to-one correspondence between English and German prepositions in terms of, for example, a very, very common example in German while teaching prepositions is, ich hänge das Bild an die Wand, and das Bild hängt an der Wand. So, I mean, an in the sense, or how to visualize an in German. That is a challenge. Or how to visualize prepositions in different languages. That is actually the challenge. And so it is better to practice prepositions in sentences with specific verbs and see how it works. Okay. So in many textbooks, you will find that prepositions, when they're introduced, there is a small illustration, or there's small what do you say, a visual representation of what the preposition means, or how to visualize what it means. So for example, the difference between auf and über would be illustrated by showing something which is like, this mouse is on the table, it is touching the table and on the table, but the light is above the table, so it is über, over and above, and so on and so forth. So You try and take one verb that you know very well, and then try and make as many sentences in the language that you're most comfortable with with that verb, and then see what are the corresponding German prepositions that you get. Okay, like we did with Schreiben, I just told you. And then we need to practice that, and we need to understand that although the prepositions might sound like zu, might sound like tu, but it is not every time the meaning is not tu of zu. Okay, that's the point. I hope I have answered your question.
To a certain extent, sir.
So what have I not answered?
No. Sometimes what happens, I get confused between, say, for example, markt and supermarkt. One we say auf dem Supermarkt, and the other one say an dem Supermarkt. So I just wanted to know why.
No. I'll tell you what. Ich gehe auf den Markt, or ich kaufe Obst auf dem Markt and in dem Supermarkt, right?
Correct, sir.
Correct. So the thing is, markt is a marketplace. Markt is usually, it's an open place. And in that sense, ich kaufe das auf dem Markt. Okay. So I'm almost like going onto the market. It's an open place, and I'm going onto that field, which is an open place, and I'm buying there. So I don't enter into the market actually, because the market being an open place, I go on to that. It's almost imagine like a field or an open space, and whereas the supermarket is a closed space. It's a building, and so I go into. I either go to. Zu can be used for both. Wir fahren zum Markt jetzt. Yeah, wir fahren zum Markt. So let's go to the. We're driving to the market. We'll park the car there, and then we'll go. We'll buy something on the market. Okay. Actually, even in English, you buy something on the market. Something is on the market, which means it is available. So that auf dem Markt is somewhat idiomatic, an expression. Zu you can use for both. If you're driving to the supermarket or driving to the market, both are possible to use zu for both. But in ich kaufe Obst normalerweise in dem Supermarkt, that is to be understood in the sense that the supermarket is an enclosed space and you're inside that space. Whereas the market is an open space and you're on that open field or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yes, I got it, sir. Thank you.
But otherwise, it is very important to practice prepositions in combination with verbs, and then get their meaning through practice. Okay.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So while answering his question, you gave the example of Schreiben. So there you said, ich schreibe auf Papier. And then you said, I write in the notebook. So you said, ich schreibe in das Heft. What is Heft?
In das Heft.
Heft. Oh, okay.
Heft.
Okay. Thank
you. Okay. Then next question is from Akarshita. How will we... is the exam like assignment? I was wondering how come this question hasn't come yet. Okay. So the exam, I mean, whatever the kind of questions that are asked in the assignments, similar kind of questions will be there in the exam as well. So there is, there will not spring any surprise on you. And but also you have to understand that many of you might be teachers already. So you also know that teachers also have some constraints, There are only so many things from which we can formulate question papers. So yes, the pattern will be pretty much like the assignments. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Akarshita.
Yes, I have one more question in regards to that. Actually, I'm relying on the German 3 certification for enhancing the job perspective of mine. So is that sufficient, or should I go for the Goethe B1 one as well?
If you want international validity, you have to go for Goethe B1.
Okay.
the NPTEL certificate definitely is has validity within Indian university scenario. But if you want international validation, then the NPTEL certificate is not yet internationally. Basically, German-speaking countries, if they require a certification of having learned German to up to a certain level, then you would have to do either the test DAF or the Goethe B1 you would have to do. But if you do the exam of German 3 well, I can tell you that much. I mean, we have had several people who have done the exam for German 3 and they did well, and then they went on to crack the B1 also quite well. So the only thing, Shilpa's question was really crucial, because the only thing that we cannot practice here in this course is spoken German, which will have to depend on your own efforts for that if you want to write the B1 of the Goethe Institute. But otherwise, we cover I think even more grammar than they expect us to cover. And vocabulary is also up to your own efforts, how much vocabulary you learn. So that way you will be well prepared for the B1, I can guarantee you that. But the validity of NPTEL is limited to the Indian academic and university scenario as of now. And it means also that also you should understand, I've replied to this, I think, on the forum also, that that we cannot cover spoken German all that well through this. That is why also, if people have reservations about how well we're learning German through this, then it is okay. I mean, you can write the exam of the Goethe Institute as an external candidate.
Okay, so in the exam for the certification one, I am expecting the assignment level question paper, where I will not be asked in the expression part. Other than that, the Hören, Schreiben, and everything will be tested, just like the assignments one. Correct?
Yeah. So there'll be Schreiben will be minimal. Schreiben, Grammatik, basically Grammatik and Schreiben. So there'll be Leseverständnis, reading comprehension, Hörverständnis, and Grammatik and Schreiben. Out of which Schreiben will be not too much. I mean, maybe you might be asked to write one email, and maybe might be asked to write one paragraph of 5 sentences or so. Schreiben will not be too much. You also understand that it's a mass-based course. So Schreiben, if I give you an email, I don't have an algorithm to check your email. I have to sit and read every email and correct it. Okay.
Yes.
So there is a limit on how much I can do in a given finite period of time.
Correct.
So from that point of view, I'm saying that in the written part, there will be more grammar, which can be multiple choice or single word answers, which we can configure.
The system can correct. I understand. Yeah. Thank you.
But we will also have some writing part which we do manually correct.
Okay, that will be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, that's all.
So Venkatramana here again. Sorry to butt in. I did make this request in the forum also, sir. You have been talking a lot of thema in the classes. Is it possible that you can ask us to write some 4 or 5 sentences in each thema as a part of our assignment, so that we get the confidence that we are writing it correctly, sir?
Okay. Yeah. As I told you, the thing about doing this on a mass-based course is that we need to have the time to be able to correct that. I mean, if I don't know, if 1,000 students doing German 3 decide to respond, then it will be almost impossible for me to correct 1,000 replies, answers, and send back feedback. That is why when we give something like this in the exam, that time there's a specific time. I define the limit, how many words you can write in the exam, and then we give one entire week separately. We keep just for correcting manually all the descriptive questions in German 1, 2, and 3. So that in a running semester is difficult to do. And one thing I can say is that you have the class notes, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
So, so in that, I think we have tried to tried to put into that the response of all students. I hope I have anonymized the responses, but I think we have tried to put in response of all students to certain questions, certain themes that we discussed in class. And then you can actually prepare accordingly. I have seen to it that when we put those responses as they were being discussed in class, when we put them into the whiteboard, at that time, I took care to grammatically correct every response. So as far as I know, in that entire document of whatever number of pages, all the live responses that we got from students are there in the corrected form. So you can actually just use them in order to formulate your responses. If there is something else that you would like to, I've already said to Ajay in the beginning also, and to Ajay in the beginning, I said that there are a couple of questions of his which need to. No, I said to Shilpa, I think that she can maybe write a small paragraph and get it checked before practicing conversational German. Similarly, Venkatraman, I'm saying to you also, or to everyone who's participating here. Okay, if you write once in a while a small paragraph on the forum and say, is this correct? That we can do. So let it come onto the forum. Then everybody can benefit from it. But if I put it in assignment, then I have to keep aside a fairly large chunk of time, and to understand it's a running semester, so it's not easy to do something like that. Okay, so please put it on the forum.
Got it, sir. Actually, in one of the classes that you had taken, you had specifically told to the students who are attending to write in a common forum so that everybody can see what they're writing, so that you should not be afraid of making mistakes. So that is exactly what I was looking at, even for people who are learning offline. So that they can also post it in the forum so that everybody can benefit out of it.
Yes, that's really true. And okay, so is that okay? Can we agree on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then I'll come to Jagannath's question. Speaking part, that's fine. How can we connect is, then I'm going to prepositional usage. Again, we have this thing. Ragha, there's a question I have. In the following sentence, do we use welche because there is no eine for the plural? Gärten gibt es nur auf dem Land. Unsinn. Es gibt auch in der Stadt welche. Here welche is used in the sense of there are some in the city as well. So if you have only one garden in a city, you would say es gibt in der Stadt auch einen Garten. Okay, auch einen. You could stop with einen and say that there is one in the city. There is a garden in the city. Es gibt in der Stadt auch einen. But you're saying that there are a few in the city, not just one. So Gärten. Es gibt Gärten in der Stadt, nicht nur auf dem Land. That's what you're saying, that there are gardens, no article. There are gardens in the city, not only in the countryside. That's what you're saying. For this, the supplement, or not the supplement, but the complementary pronoun is welche. Okay. Ein, eine, einen would be eins, eine, and einen would be for neuter, feminine, and masculine if you're talking about one. Gibt es hier in der Stadt Kinos? Das ist eine kleine Stadt. Es gibt nur ein Kino in der Stadt. Ich kann auf die Frage antworten mit dem Satz, ja, es gibt eins. Okay, if there's only one cinema hall in the city, I would say es gibt eins. Das Kino. Gibt es hier eine Bäckerei in der Stadt? Ja, es ist eine kleine Stadt. Es gibt eine Bäckerei. Ich kann sagen, ja, es gibt eine. Okay. Gibt es einen I'm looking for Supermarkt. Yeah, es gibt einen kleinen Supermarkt. Es gibt einen. So I'm using, if I'm asking about one, if the reference is to one particular object or one object in the earlier sentence, then I can reply with eine, eins, or einen. But here the reference is to Gärten, several. Gibt es hier Kinos in der Stadt? And I want to say, yeah, there are a few cinema halls, not just one. I would say, yeah, es gibt welche. I could even say es gibt mehrere, but es gibt welche. Okay. So that is the thing about welche. I hope you can understand why it is welche here. It means basically that yes, there are a few. K1 and K2, Himanshu. When do we use which? I can answer it in only one sentence. Already we are at 6:03. We are 3 minutes over time. So cognitive eins is basically indirect speech, and K2 is expression of irreality or desire, wish, etc. So that is the basic difference between K1 and K2. K1 is he said he has some money to give me. Okay. So hat gesagt, habe. I'm just hat gesagt, habe. That the K1 usually comes in the reported speech or indirect speech. And K2, wenn ich Geld hätte, wenn ich viel Geld hätte, würde ich ein neues Haus kaufen or whatever it is. So that is the expression of desire, expression of possibility, expression of so-called irreality, in the sense that it is not yet real, but under certain conditions it could be real. So that is K2. But otherwise, it is not possible to conduct a class on K1 and K2 in a live forum. Okay, so maybe you could go back to the K1 classes in the German 3 course. And then we can, if you have difficulties, of course, you can solve on the forum. Is there a German 4 course coming? Not as of now. I'm sorry.
So can I ask one question last?
One second. Just a bit. If I think I've answered all the questions on Zoom. Shilpa, I'll come back to you. 1 second. And if who was supposed to get Neha was supposed to get us an example for her question,
Yes,
but
sir. Yes.
yeah. So I'll come back to those 2 things. I'm just saying. German series. How right? Thank you. German 3. Okay, so there are questions on YouTube, but I think the only question I might respond to, I need to respond to, is from Anisha. A2 Netzwerk Arbeitsbuch and Kursbuch. How can I know the answers? I'm feeling it right. Yeah, it would be if you're working with the Arbeitsbuch, then there. Now I'm forgetting. There should be a key actually at the back of the Arbeitsbuch with answers. Okay. So usually if there is a workbook, then the workbook, at the end of the workbook, there'll be, I'm answering Anisha's question, which is on YouTube. Okay. So there should be a key at the end of the book where you can find the answers to the questions in the exercises. Okay. So vielen Dank für die Fragen. Und jetzt kommen wir zurück. Zunächst mal, Neha, hast du ein Beispiel für uns?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Neha, go ahead.
Yes, sir. If I had practiced more, I would have get better grades. So such kind of sentences.
Wenn ich mehr gelernt hätte.
Okay.
Had I practiced more? Wenn ich mehr gelernt, gearbeitet, geübt hätte.
Okay.
Hätte ich. So the point is whether you want to express something that should have happened or could have happened in the past or would happen in the future. What is it? So the reality is, sorry, it's not your reality, or I'm just saying, let's say the reality is that my grades are not very good. Okay. And
Okay.
I have not worked enough. Okay, that is the reality. Now I'm saying, sitting here today, I'm saying, if I had worked more, I would have got better grades. That is the entire action that the grades are not good and I did not work happened in the past.
Yes.
Then I would use, wenn ich mehr gearbeitet hätte, wenn ich mehr geübt hätte, hätte ich bessere Noten bekommen.
Okay. So,
Okay.
sir, in the first one is also hätte or hatte. Matlab a umlaut will come
Hätte,
or
hätte.
on.
See, both you're expressing a desire or you're expressing a wish
Yes.
that had you worked more. The reality is that you haven't worked more. But had you worked more, the grades would have been better. Actually, it is the entire action is in the past and then has happened in the past. And then you're saying on the basis of that, if things were different, then the grades would be different. Okay.
Okay.
That is one. When when do mehr Arbeit ist? This can be either indicative or it can be when do mehr arbeiten würdest? If
Okay.
you were to, now I'm talking about the future, work more. Würdest du gute Noten bekommen?
Okay.
Okay, I'm using würde in both.
Okay,
Then
sir.
I'm saying that this is the possibility that you have in front of you. It is not yet a reality, but the possibility is if you were to learn a little more, study a little more, then you would get better grades. It's all a possibility in the future.
Okay.
There's an irreality that is there in the past, that the reality is something else. And I'm wishing that the reality had been like this, but it's all in the past. But now I'm expressing a hope and a possibility of the future. Würde.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. The pure Katswai forms without the würde can also be used for the future. But würde is simple and very, very common as well.
Kyunte also we can use.
Könnte is also okay. Könnte ich bessere Noten bekommen, yeah. That's also possible.
Okay.
Okay, that's done.
Sir, is there a possibility?
I'm sorry, but I have to, at 6:15, I have German 1.
Yeah,
This
okay.
was supposed to be 5 to 6 and 6:15 to 7:15 is German 1. So, we have to, so I hope, Neha, your question has been resolved.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for the example. Now we'll come to Shilpa's question.
Yeah, so you said we should practice conversations and all. So do you suggest any books or just the conversations in our course book and our bites book? Or any simple book do you suggest which has simple conversations?
I mean, there are so many textbooks which I have used over the years, and almost, earlier there was a textbook which no longer is published, but somewhere you might find, if you go, you might find old copies of a textbook called Lernziel Deutsch. Lernziel Deutsch, if I remember right, at least the A1 and A2 levels which we used to teach during the 90s, late 80s and 90s, we used Lernziel Deutsch a lot. And all the lessons in Lernziel Deutsch are 12 lessons or something like that. Everything, the main lesson is a conversation between 2 or 3 people. Every lesson. And then there are other texts like about bit of information about Germany or whatever. What are other texts are there, like prose texts. But otherwise, every lesson, you see if you can find, maybe there are some old copies in on Amazon which you might be able to learn.
It's there on Google. It's freely available in the PDF. It's quite difficult though, but yeah, it's there.
I didn't hear that, and you didn't say that. Okay, fine. But maybe you can buy old copies on Amazon of Lernziel Deutsch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Thank
Yeah. But even otherwise, I mean, I think given that we have done something like this in the course during recording, I think we could take a topic from there, prepare what you would like to know from a partner, from a conversation partner, prepare questions, prepare your responses based on the vocabulary that's there in the class notes or the whiteboard that we have. And or if you have already bought the textbook, then you can also refer to textbook for more vocabulary. Prepare answers and questions, and then practice it with one or two partners. Okay?
you. Okay. Sir.
Ja, ich bin sehr froh und ich bin sehr dankbar, dass Sie alle hier an dieser Stunde teilgenommen haben. Es war sehr, sehr lebendig für mich. Auch, dass wir uns live unterhalten konnten. Und hoffentlich war es für Sie auch nützlich, hier gewesen zu sein.
Vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank und hoffentlich macht es Ihnen weiterhin Spaß, Deutsch zu lernen. Und also von meiner Seite, meinerseits viel Spaß und alles Gute und auf Wiederhören und auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiederhören.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Vielen
Thank
Dank.
you.
Auf
Vielen
Wiedersehen.
Dank.
Gerne. Okay. So.